So the problem with the existing job is whenever I build a new pipeline with the updated script, it's getting replaced with the old one. The old one is getting wiped off and then it's getting replaced with the new one. So automatically it's getting replaced. So what can I do? So how can I do? So now we will be versioning the artifact. This is the second job that we are going to build here. So that is the second exercise that we are going to do in freestyle job is versioning the artifact. So let me take this sticky note and I'll continue here. The second job here is versioning artifacts. So as usual, we have to do a slight modification. So we can version artifacts in in three ways. The first one is versioning using environment variable. And second one, versioning using parameter. And third one is versioning using plugin. So let's do this. Let's begin with versioning using environment variable. So for that, let's get into this. And where is here it is, the Linux documentation. So let me go to, yeah, here I have search button. So environment variables, yeah. Jenkins, and here you see using environment variables. These are some of the environment variables. Let's go through this environment variable first, then we will build our job, a freestyle job name versioning environment variable. So versioning the artifact. So using environment variable, Jenkins pipeline exposes environment variables via the global variable env. This is very important, note it down. So env, then build, okay, env, which is available from anywhere within the Jenkins file. So the full list of environment variables accessible from within Jenkins pipeline is documented in here. So basically you are protecting this variable, you can find this. And so now let's begin with the first variable, that's a build ID. So what a build ID environment variable will do. So the current build ID identical to build number for builds created in Jenkins versions 1.597 plus 2. Okay, then you will have a build number. So build number, the current build number such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you can find out. Then build tags and build URL, the URL where the results of the build can be found. Example is this. And executor number and other variables are Java home, Jenkins URL, job name, node name, workspace. So these are some of the environment variables, out of which we are gonna use build ID. So build ID, we are gonna version based on build ID. And it's build ID. So let's get into our Jenkins and let me get back to the dashboard. So here we have a pipeline. So first freestyle build maven. So let me click on new, and let's give the pipeline name first first freestyle first job. Let me get into there. It's first freestyle. Yeah, you got it. First freestyle build maven, and give version. Versions. So freestyle, and scroll it down. Copy from, you use this option. If you want to create a new item from other existing, you can use this option. So I want it to copy from, so all the description should be copied, source code management should be copied, and maven build steps should be copied, everything. So I want an existing the first freestyle maven build maven project replica, exactly that replica I want here. So first freestyle build maven, click on this and say okay, and here it is, the replica exactly. It's been copied here. So now you can do the changes. It would be much easier than reinventing the wheel. Yes or no? Yes, obviously. So here I'll say, we'll keep the same thing, versioning. So versioning the artifact. So that's the job. Okay, that's the job we are gonna do. So we'll keep the git remains same, url remains same, branch remains same, build environment remains same, step package will keep it same. And so as this is versioning using environment variable, so now what we have to do is, after keeping all other stages, so now we have to click on add build step, and drop down button once, and click on the drop down button. So and click on execute shell. It belongs to Linux, so that's the reason we will select Linux. If it is Windows machine, you can select Windows batch commands. Then click on execute shell. So the shell blank space opens. Now you type create a directory with parent option, and name of the directory is versions. Then copy whatever is there in target directory inside the workspace, because it happens inside the workspace. So whatever is there in the target directory, and what's that, vprofile v2.var, this is the package you will find in target directory. You copy that package and place it inside the versions directory that we have given command just above. And inside that versions, you create you paste it as a v profile and version. And now we will use our environment variable, that is build id. I think that's what, let me check. Yeah, it's build id. Yeah, let me copy this, all are capital, copy this and paste it here. Done. So now let me give extension .var. So that's it. This two commands will be executed while the package has been built. Once the package has been built, the versions directory will be created. After that, inside the target file, your package will be there, and that will be copied from that folder and placed in versions directory, and it will rename it as this way, version and with build id. So now we are versioning our artifact with our build id. Okay, so now let's save it, and here you can see the project name, job name, first freestyle build maven versions. So now let me build this project. Let me click on build now, and it's gonna start building. So it started. The build id is 1. So now let's see what version we will get here. It's taking some time, let it take. Yes, it's done. Let me click here. So build 1, number 1, it successfully built it. So now let me get into console output, and we see the console output cloning. Anyway, actions remain same. We have used the same script, and let's come to the end. Yes, 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 it is. This is what you see. Your build is success. Once that is done, then came bin shell script. Okay, the script, that's the next step. After the building by maven is done, the next step is to execute. The first command inside that is make their p versions, and then copy the v profile package and put it inside the versions directory with the name v profile v1.var. Because see, one, you got the one here. Why? Because your build id is 1. You see, your build id is 1. That's the reason you got 1. So now let me get into workspace and see that what had happened. See, in addition to the target directory, you have versions. Let me click on version. You see your v profile v1.var. So now let's build this pipe one more time, and we'll see what's going to happen. So if you build it one more time, it's going to replace the target directory with the new build, but version should be added with the new version. Let's see. Let's build it and see. Build scheduled. 2 is building. Done. Target will be replaced, obviously. That's how it works. That's the reason we require, so that you can check the time. It's, and then let me get back one folder down and check the versions. Here it is. Here it is. Version 2. It's build id. ID number is 2. You can see here. So ID number 2, and you see that. Now let me keep this folder like this and build one more job. Build schedule, but this time it's ID number 3. So you should get an artifact with version 3. Let's see what's gonna happen. The job has been built. Yes, you got it. Version 3. So if you want, you can experiment it a lot. So because it's all fun. So it gives fun as well as experience. So I hope and I expect you to practice it more. And before we close this exercise, before we close this versioning with the first option, that is versioning using environment variable. So let me mark this build id. Okay, so now what is left for us? Two other ways: versioning using parameter and versioning using plugin. So now let's do versioning using plugin. Sorry, versioning using parameter. Okay, so for that we have to check the project. This project should be parameterized. So now let me get into the configure. So you keep it same everything, but here versioning the artifact using parameter. So you can see that option. You have to check. You have to check this box. This project is parameterized. Done. So now it's asking me to add parameter. So let me give add parameter as and give the name. Just a minute. I would check it. So I would say this choice parameter is fine. Choices I'm not gonna give. I require choices. So not this one. Let me check credential parameter, boolean parameter, string parameter. I'm gonna type version. So name I would give version. Version is the name, and default value also I say version with the small letters, and here I'm gonna say this is to version the project. Okay, trim the string is not required. Let's keep it. So rest all remains same. Now let me scroll down a bit and come to the add build step. Add build step, as we have the existing one. Yes, here we have to do a bit of modifications. So here, so we have to mention the version. Instead of giving the build ID and environment variable, you have to mention version. Version dot var. Okay, and remaining is fine. So let me save it and build with parameters. You see, build with parameters. Let me click here. So it's asking this version the project. Okay, there is a mistake. Let me get back to the configuring, and what version is this project? Okay, and default value version number, and save, and click on build with parameters. Now it's asking, so version, what version this project is. So now let me give version number 3, because 1 and 2 4 I'll give 4. So okay, and click build, and let's see the magic. Fourth, with the build ID 4th, it's being built, but version I have give because it's a parameterized build. So we don't need to look. Okay, we'll get into the uh, console output directly and scroll down to the bottommost, and here you see both the commands has been executed. The bottom command is using, yeah, the bottom command has using this version variable, capital V, capital version variable. So whatever I have mentioned this, so version 4, that's what we got it. So now let me get into the workspace and into the versions. Here you see that v profile v version 4.var. let's rebuild it with the parameter. This time I would say, anyway v is mentioned, I will just say 5.4.3.2.1 and click on build. So I'll default value, I'll remove this. Yeah, now it's getting builded, it's getting built. Let's wait what's gonna happen. Yes, it's done. Click on the console, check the console output, directly scroll down to the last, and here is that v profile version 5.4.3.2.1.war. So let us get into the workspace and check the project version. Yes, here it is. V profile v 5.4.3.2.1. That's how we version using parameters. So then what's left for us is versioning using plugin. So but why do you require this? Why do you require a plugin? So if you just go to the dashboard and click on manage Jenkins and then click on manage plugins. So to do this, uh, to do to install the plugin. But why do we require use plugin when you have other ways, simplest ways to do this? Because see, whatever we have done using build id or after that using parameter, if it is a parameter there is a manual intervention, so at any cost it should not be used at all. Okay, so build id, it's somewhat it's better because it's automatic, so there is no requirement of manual intervention. So but parameterized, it's not useful when you build a pipeline. So that's the reason we need a something which can automate this task also, which specifically adding few more parameters, time, and so we want more automation, we want more action, we want more dynamicity inside this. That's the reason we want to use a plugin to version our artifacts. So here I will go to the manage plugins. Here you can see, and I'll click on available plugins, and which plugin I would go here is I would just type gen timestamp. Oh, this one is good. Gen timestamp. Select that plugin that allows the customization of the date and time pattern for the Jenkins build timestamp variable. So again, we are taking the environment variable build timestamp, but it's gonna customize it, allow that customization to this. So that's the reason we are using plugin. So let's click on install without a restart. So we have installed the plugin. Let's come down, let's scroll it down. Yes, installation was done. So now let's go back to the, now let's get back to the dashboard, and if you click on the build history, you can see the your builds, you can see your builds. So freestyle, all versions, whatever you have built, all versions, you can see that on your screen exactly. The time since it's been built, whether it is stable or unstable, so everything it's been showing here in the build history. And if you click on my views, here it is again, you will see the jobs, all the jobs. But here, so in build history you can see all the builds, whereas in my views, whatever jobs that you have created, those only can be seen here. Okay, now let's do this. So we'll create a new item. Let me get back to this and create a new item, and we'll use the same one. No, we'll get back to this and click on the versioning itself. We don't need to create a new item. Yeah, click on configure the version project. So Now let's uncheck. Let's keep, okay, we'll do the modification here also. It's not using the plugin, it's not using the parameter, it's using the plugin. So we will add that. And now let's uncheck this project is parameterized. Yes, it's no more parameterized. Now let's, the source code management remains same, and maven remains same, whereas the execute shell where the command should be varied. So anyway, there is no more version variable because the parameterized option itself is unchecked. Now it's time to use build timestamp variable here. Build and timestamp. Okay, rest all remains same. So now let's set the pattern of build stamp variable, and add the following. We have to set that pattern. So let's find out. So we have added the build stamp to that, but we have to set up the parameter. We have to set up the build stamp. Uh, Let me select the build stamp, and we have to set up the pattern first. Click on advanced. So okay, you've seen all the sections. Now it's time to change the date pattern for the build stamp variable. So we have unchecked this project is parameterized. Now let's check the change date pattern for the build stamp. So let's take this pattern, that's capital YY and MMD, or let's take the default one, and then see here you can see that you must specify a java.text.simple date format pattern. For example, in this value you can select all those things. This is the basically a default one. Let me copy this here. Yeah, yeah, copy and paste it here. And if you want to see, so you can actually get from Jenkins timestamp. So now I need year, so that only these last two numbers of year. So the initial two numbers I do not want. I will remove these two, and I want to separate it through colon. So I would put, okay, I would put an hyphen here instead of colon, then month I want, then date I want, out of which hours is absolutely fine and minute is absolutely fine. Okay, year, month, date and hours, and minutes is fine. Seconds are not required. Let me remove this. Yeah, in between, yes, it's fine. So the parameter is unchecked, build timestamp variable has been checked, and rest all is as it is because we have added the build timestamp. Let me cross check that. Okay, build timestamp has also been added. You can see that it's in blue color. It says it's an environment variable, and rest all remains same. And let me save it. As it is done, let me click on build now. The build scheduled. So let's check. Its build ID is 6. So it's getting built now. So once it is, yes, it is done. So let me click on the build ID. So it's successfully built by this guy from this repository. So now let me get into the console output. You can see that it's the user, and finally let me scroll down to the dead end, the bottommost dead end. Here you see that here. So v profile version 23 2023 01 January 25 today and 1058.war. This is 10 hours 58 minutes. That's what the time now. And this is what the version we got. So now let's get into the workspace and see what did we get there. What did we get there? Here it is. So let me get here. Let me get into versions. Yep. You see the version? It is v profile v2301251058.war. That's the magic. That's how we version it. That's brilliant. I hope you really liked it. So now let me run a few more builds and we'll see what's going to happen. But in between, let's take 1 or 2 minutes of gap. Let me click on build now again. The build has been scheduled. The build ID is number 7. 11 a.m. It's done. You see that? It's 11. It's 11. It's 11. And it's 23 Jan 25. Got it? Let me build one more. Yes. Build ID number 8. Here it is. Okay. Build ID 8. Where is that? 11. Let me check. Console output. Scroll down. Success. Okay, 1100. The time remains same. So we need to take more time. So before executing it. Okay. Let me get back to this freestyle versions and workspace versions, and let me wait for a few more seconds. And yeah, now it's, let me run it again because it's based on seconds. We do not have seconds, so that's the reason. Now let me run it. The time remains same. So now it's 11 hour and 2 minutes. This is job with job ID number 9. So basically using a plugin will give you a more the plugins will give you the more functionality, or more readability, or more understandability, or more appealing to your package name. Because if you just give job ID, what you can get from it, so if you use a time, date and everything, so basically it conveys something. Okay, that day at that time this artifact has been created, this artifact has been built. So in that way the plugin will be very useful. So that's the reason the plugin supersedes all other things. The plugin has added benefit than compared to the other ways of versioning. So we have done with the versioning using plugin also. So let me check it, and let me get back to the dashboard and click on build history, and you can see all your pipelines here. Sorry, all your jobs here, and all are stable and all are working fine. So versioning the artifact exercise is successfully done. I hope you too did it.